Starting with number 1. WWII, Germany, 1940. The WWII began as a low-profile assault gun built on the reliable Panzer III chassis, developed by Germany to support infantry against fortified positions on the Eastern Front and in North Africa. Its turretless design kept the silhouette low, making it difficult to spot in open terrain and cheaper to produce than a turreted tank. As Soviet armor grew heavier, the WWII was upgunned with a long 75mm cannon capable of defeating most enemy tanks at range. By war's end, it had become Germany's most numerous armored fighting vehicle, credited with more tank kills than any other German design, a testament to how effective a well-armed, well-hidden gun platform could be. Number 2. Marder III, Germany, 1942. Built on captured Czech and German chassis, the Marder III was Germany's answer to an urgent problem. Soviet T-34s were outclassing existing anti-tank guns. Engineers mounted a powerful 75mm gun onto a lightly armored hull, creating a vehicle that traded protection for firepower and mobility. Deployed extensively on the Eastern Front, it allowed German units to strike from ambush positions, using hedgerows, ridgelines, and rubble for cover, since its open-top design left crews exposed to shrapnel and infantry fire. Despite the risk, the Marder III's gun could punch through Soviet armor at ranges the enemy could not answer, giving hard-pressed German divisions a stopgap solution that bought critical time on a collapsing front. Number 3. Nashorn, Germany, 1943. Meaning rhinoceros, the Nashorn combined a Panzer IV-derived chassis with the devastating 88mm PaK-43 gun, one of the most feared anti-tank weapons of the war. Its role was pure long-range interdiction, engaging Soviet armor from over a kilometer away before enemy tanks could close the distance and exploit its thin, open-topped hull. Crews relied on speed of deployment and disciplined fire discipline, striking, and then relocating before counter-battery fire could find them. On the Eastern Front, Nashorn units regularly destroyed enemy tanks at ranges that outmatched almost anything else in German service at the time, proving that in tank hunting, reach and gun power could outweigh armor thickness. Number 4. Ferdinand and Elephant, Germany, 1943. Built from the rejected Porsche Tiger chassis, the Ferdinand carried the same 88mm gun as the Nashorn, but wrapped in far heavier frontal armor, making it nearly impervious to frontal hits during the Battle of Kursk. Its weaknesses were mechanical complexity and a total lack of secondary machine guns, a flaw that cost several vehicles to infantry assault teams once immobilized. After Kursk, surviving vehicles were upgraded and renamed Elephant, adding a hull machine gun and improved crew protection. Even with its flaws, its combination of armor and firepower meant Soviet crews often could not penetrate it head-on, cementing its reputation as one of the most formidable, if flawed, tank hunters ever fielded. Number 5. Jagdpanther, Germany, 1944. Widely regarded by historians as the finest tank destroyer of the war, the Jagdpanther paired the excellent Panther chassis with the long 88mm gun and sloped, well-angled armor. It offered a rare balance of firepower, protection, and mobility that most casemate designs sacrificed for one another. Deployed on both fronts from 1944 onward, it could engage Allied Shermans and Soviet T-34s at ranges where those tanks had almost no chance of an effective return shot. Production shortages and fuel scarcity limited its numbers, but where it appeared in strength, it inflicted disproportionate losses on Allied and Soviet armor alike, and its silhouette became a benchmark other nations studied closely after the war. Number 6. Jagdtiger, Germany, 1944. The heaviest armored fighting vehicle to see combat in the war, the Jagdtiger mounted a massive 128mm gun capable of destroying any Allied or Soviet tank at extreme range, often before the enemy even detected its position. Built on the Tiger II chassis, its armor was thick enough to shrug off most contemporary anti-tank rounds from the front. Its size and weight made it mechanically strained and difficult to maneuver on soft or damaged terrain, and production numbers stayed low. Still, in defensive engagements during the final months of the war, a handful of Jagdtigers held off numerically superior Allied armor columns, showcasing raw firepower few other vehicles could match. Number 7. Su-152, Soviet Union, 1943. Nicknamed the Beast Killer by Soviet crews, the Su-152 was rushed into service in time for Kursk, mounting a massive 152mm howitzer on a KV-1S heavy tank chassis. Its primary role was breaking through fortified positions, but its enormous high-explosive shells proved devastatingly effective against Germany's newest heavy tanks and self-propelled guns, capable of blowing turrets clean off. Slow to reload and limited in ammunition capacity, it depended on infantry and other armor for protection during extended engagements. Despite these constraints, its psychological and physical impact at Kursk gave Soviet forces a critical answer to German heavy armor at a pivotal moment in the war. Number 8. Su-152, Soviet Union, 1943. An evolution of the Su-152 built on the newer IS heavy tank chassis, the Su-152 carried the same devastating 152mm gun into battle across the Eastern Front and into the urban fighting of Berlin in 1945. Its firepower made it equally effective against armor, fortified buildings, and troop concentrations, giving Soviet commanders a flexible weapon for the brutal close-quarters combat of the war's final year. Its slow rate of fire meant crews needed careful target selection, since missed shots left them exposed while reloading. Still, its reputation for one-shot destruction of enemy tanks and bunkers made it one of the most respected heavy assault guns fielded by any nation. Number 9. Su-100, Soviet Union, 1944. Developed as a direct response to Germany's Panther and Tiger tanks, the Su-100 mounted a high-velocity 100mm gun on the proven T-34 chassis, giving Soviet forces a fast, well-sloped tank destroyer capable of defeating German heavy armor at long range. It entered combat in early 1945, taking part in the drive through Hungary and into Germany itself. Its low profile and strong frontal armor made it difficult to knock out in a direct engagement, while its gun could penetrate a Panther's frontal plate at distances the German tank could not match in return. Its balance of mobility, protection, and firepower made it one of the most effective tank destroyers the Soviet Union produced. Number 10. M18 Hellcat, United States, 1943. Built around a doctrine of speed rather than armor, the M18 Hellcat was the fastest-tracked armored vehicle of the war, capable of outrunning nearly every tank it faced. American tank destroyer doctrine called for these vehicles to strike enemy armor from concealed positions and withdraw before a counterattack could develop, relying on mobility instead of protection to survive. Deployed across the European theater from Normandy through the Battle of the Bulge, Hellcat crews used their speed to reposition rapidly and ambush German armor from the flanks. Lightly armored but hard-hitting with its 76mm gun, the Hellcat proved that in the right hands, agility could be just as decisive as armor thickness. Number 11. M10 Wolverine, United States, 1942. The first purpose-built American tank destroyer to see widespread combat, the M10 Wolverine paired a Sherman-derived chassis with an open-top turret carrying a 76mm gun, prioritizing production speed and firepower over crew protection. It fought across North Africa, Italy, and Normandy, giving American forces their first dedicated answer to German armor before better designs arrived. Its open turret left crews vulnerable to shell fragments and grenades during close engagements, and its armor could not reliably stop a Panther's gun at combat ranges. Even so, its mobility and reasonably powerful cannon let crews reposition quickly and mass fire against German counterattacks, making it a critical bridge weapon during the years before heavier American tank destroyers reached the front. Number 12. M36 Jackson, United States, 1944. Recognizing that the M10's gun could no longer handle Germany's heaviest tanks, American engineers rearmed the same chassis with a powerful 90mm gun, creating the M36 Jackson. It arrived in time for the Battle of the Bulge, where its cannon proved capable of destroying Tigers and Panthers at ranges other American vehicles could not match. Like its predecessor, its open turret top left crews exposed to artillery airbursts and infantry attacks during the brutal winter fighting in the Ardennes. Despite that vulnerability, the M36 firepower gave American units a genuine equalizer against German heavy armor for the first time, and it remained in American and Allied service well beyond 1945 because of how effective that gun truly was. Number 13. Achilles, United Kingdom, 1944. The Achilles was a British reworking of the American M10, replacing its original gun with the legendary 17-pounder, one of the most powerful anti-tank weapons fielded by any Allied nation. This upgrade transformed a merely adequate tank destroyer into one capable of killing Panthers and Tigers reliably at long range, a capability British and Commonwealth forces desperately needed after encountering German heavy armor in Normandy. Its open turret carried over the same crew exposure risks as the American original, and its silhouette remained tall and easy to spot. Still, in the hedgerow fighting of France and later campaigns into Germany, the Achilles gave British tank destroyer units a weapon finally capable of matching German armor on equal terms. Number 14. Archer, United Kingdom, 1943. An unusual but effective design, the Archer mounted the powerful 17-pounder gun facing backward over the rear of a Valentine tank chassis, an arrangement that confused enemies but gave crews a critical tactical advantage. After firing from a concealed position, the driver could immediately reverse away to safety without needing to turn the vehicle around, a maneuver that saved lives in ambush engagements across Northwest Europe. Its cramped interior and awkward gun position slowed crew reactions during fast-moving fights, and its light armor offered little protection if caught in the open. Despite its strange layout, the Archer's hit-and-run effectiveness made it a valuable, if unconventional, tool for British forces defending against German counterattacks in the war's final year. Number 15. Hetzer, Germany, 1944. Built on a modified Czech chassis, the Hetzer was Germany's answer to a growing shortage of resources late in the war, offering a compact, low-silhouette vehicle that was cheap to produce yet still carried a capable 75mm gun. Its small size made it exceptionally difficult to spot and target in defensive terrain, and it became popular with crews for the protection its sloped armor provided relative to its size. Cramped interior space limited crew efficiency during sustained engagements, and its narrow tracks struggled in deep mud or snow. Even so, in the defensive battles of 1944 and 1945, the Hetzer's combination of concealment and firepower let outnumbered German units inflict serious losses on advancing Soviet and Allied armor. Number 16. Stu-G4, Germany, 1943. When Allied bombing disrupted production of the Stu-G3's chassis, Germany adapted the design onto the Panzer IV hull, creating the Stu-G4 without sacrificing the gun that had made the original so effective. It served the same close support and tank hunting roles across the Eastern Front and later in the defense of Germany itself, using its low profile to ambush advancing Soviet armor from prepared positions. Like its predecessor, its fixed casemate design meant it could not traverse its gun without turning the entire vehicle a serious disadvantage if flanked. Nonetheless, its combination of a proven chassis and a powerful long-barreled 75mm gun kept it a reliable and heavily produced tank killer through the final years of the war. Number 17. Su-85, Soviet Union, 1943. Built on the T-34 chassis to counter Germany's newly arrived Tiger and Panther tanks, the Su-85 carried a high-velocity 85mm gun capable of penetrating German armor at ranges Soviet tanks had previously struggled to match. It served throughout the second half of the Eastern Front campaign, screening advancing Soviet tank formations and engaging enemy armor from ambush positions along tree lines and ridges. Its armor was no thicker than the T-34 it was based on, leaving it reliant on speed and concealment rather than protection in direct engagements. As German armor grew even heavier, the Su-85 was eventually succeeded by the more powerful Su-100, but its arrival marked a turning point in the Soviet Union's ability to fight German heavy tanks on more even terms. Number 18. Su-76, Soviet Union, 1942. The most numerically produced Soviet self-propelled gun of the war, the Su-76 combined a light chassis with a 76mm field gun, giving infantry divisions mobile fire support and a basic anti-tank capability they had previously lacked. It served across every major Soviet offensive from Stalingrad onward, prized by crews for its mechanical simplicity and ease of production even as resources grew strained. Its thin, open-topped armor offered crews little protection from artillery fragments or small arms fire, earning it a rough nickname among some of the men who operated it. Despite its vulnerabilities, its sheer numbers and versatility made it indispensable to Soviet infantry, filling a support role that heavier, more specialized vehicles simply could not provide in the same quantity. Number 19. Semovin-75, 18, Italy, 1941. Italy's most successful armored vehicle of the war, the Semovin-75, 18 mounted a short 75mm howitzer on a light tank chassis, giving Italian forces a mobile gun capable of both infantry support and effective tank hunting when using specialized ammunition. It fought across North Africa and later in the defense of Italy itself, where its low silhouette and reasonably potent gun let it punch above its weight against Allied armor. Light armor and a cramped fighting compartment limited its survivability against dedicated Allied tank destroyers, and production numbers never matched Germany's or the Soviet Union's output. Even so, it remained the most respected Italian armored vehicle of the conflict, valued for giving otherwise outmatched Italian units a genuine anti-tank capability. Number 20. Panzerjäger I, Germany 1940. One of the earliest purpose-built tank destroyers of the war, the Panzerjäger I mounted a captured Czech 47mm gun onto the obsolete Panzer I light tank chassis, a stopgap solution born from Germany's shortage of dedicated anti-tank vehicles. It saw action in the invasion of France and later in North Africa, where its gun could still defeat the lighter Allied tanks of the period despite the vehicle's thin, outdated armor. Its high profile and minimal protection left crews exposed to return fire, and its small chassis struggled under the weight of the added gun and superstructure. Still, as one of the first vehicles to prove the tank destroyer concept in combat, it laid the groundwork for the far more capable designs that followed later in the war. If you enjoyed this video on the greatest tank destroyers ever made in World War II, don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button for more military history content. Thanks for watching this video. We truly appreciate your support. See you in the next one.